The silence at our dinner table feels like a living thing, coiled and ready to strike. I watch Daniel's fingers drum against his wine glass, a nervous tick I've never noticed in 15 years of marriage. His phone buzzes again, the fourth time in 20 minutes, and I see Rachel's name flash across the screen before he hastily flips it face down. I'm Layla, and until exactly 8 minutes ago, I thought I knew what my life was. "Can I have more pasta, Mom?" Tommy asks, fork scraping against his empty plate. His dark eyes, so much like Daniel's, peer up at me hopefully. "Of course, sweetheart." My voice sounds strange, distant, as if someone else is speaking through me. I reach for Tommy's plate, but my hand trembles, and I knock over Daniel's wine glass. Red liquid spreads across our pristine white tablecloth like blood. "Jesus, Layla," Daniel mutters, jumping up to avoid the spill. "What's gotten into you? What's gotten into me?" The text I glimpsed replays in my mind. "Missing you already. Last night was perfect." I dab at the spreading stain with my napkin, buying time, fighting the urge to scream. "Sorry, just clumsy tonight." The lie tastes bitter. "Tommy, honey, why don't you go start your homework? I'll bring your pasta up in a minute." Tommy groans but slides off his chair. "Fine. But can I have ice cream later?" "We'll see." I force a smile, watching him disappear upstairs. The moment he's gone, the air grows thick with unspoken accusations. Daniel's already reaching for his phone, and I notice how he angles the screen away from me as he checks it. When did this start? How long have I been blind? "Big project?" I ask, my voice carefully neutral. "You seem distracted." "Yeah, the merger's keeping everyone on their toes." He doesn't meet my eyes. "Rachel's been coordinating with the legal team, and there's always some new fire to put out." Rachel. Of course it's Rachel. Young, ambitious Rachel, who always seems to need Daniel's input after hours, who laughs too loudly at his jokes during company parties, who's apparently making his nights perfect. "Funny," I say, standing to clear the plates. "I thought the merger was finished last month. You mentioned celebrating with the team, remember?" Daniel's head snaps up, and for a split second, I see panic flash across his face before he schools his features. "Different merger. Look, I should probably head back to the office. These documents won't review themselves." "It's 7:30, Daniel." I grip the edge of the table, knuckles white. "Tommy was hoping you'd help with his science project tonight." "Tomorrow, I promise." He's already standing, straightening his tie. "Don't wait up." As he grabs his keys, I think about the sacrifices I've made. Leaving my marketing career to raise Tommy. Moving across the country for his promotion. Supporting every late night, every missed weekend, every broken promise. "Daniel!" I call out just as he reaches the door. He pauses, hand on the doorknob. "Yeah? Give Rachel my best." The slight stiffening of his shoulders is all the confirmation I need. He doesn't turn around, doesn't defend himself, just walks out and closes the door with a quiet click that sounds like the end of everything. I sink into my chair, staring at the wine stain on the tablecloth. Upstairs, I can hear Tommy humming as he works on his homework, blissfully unaware that his world is about to change. My phone sits next to my plate, and I pick it up with trembling fingers, scrolling to Sophie's number. "Hey," I text, "can you meet tomorrow? I need a lawyer." The response comes instantly. "Of course, everything okay?" I look at the empty chair where my husband sat, at the space where he should be helping our son with his homework, at the life I thought I knew unraveling thread by thread. "No," I reply. "But it will be." Sophie's law office smells like leather and lemon polish, but all I can focus on is the growing pile of credit card statements spread across her desk. Each receipt tells its own story. Expensive restaurants I've never heard of, hotel charges, jewelry stores. My stomach churns as I recognize the dates. Our anniversary, my birthday, even the day we finalized Tommy's adoption. "He's been planning this for months," I say, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. While I was helping Tommy with his science fair project, Daniel was buying Rachel diamond earrings. Sophie leans back in her chair, her professional mask slipping to reveal genuine concern. "Have you checked your joint accounts?" "That's the thing." I pull out my phone, showing her the banking app. "Large transfers to a private account I didn't know existed. He's been siphoning money since his promotion. Bastard's been preparing his exit strategy." Sophie's fingers tap against her desk. But he made mistakes. Sloppy ones. A knock interrupts us, and Sophie's assistant pokes her head in. Mrs. Thompson, your son's school is on line 1. My heart stops. Tommy? I grab the phone, already imagining accidents, injuries. This is Layla Thompson. Mrs. Thompson, I'm calling because your husband picked Tommy up early today. He mentioned a family emergency? The room tilts sideways. There must be some mistake. I didn't authorize. He's listed as an approved guardian, ma'am. They left about 20 minutes ago. I drop the phone, already grabbing my purse. Sophie's on her feet too, reading my panic. He wouldn't, I start, but the words die in my throat. Because he would. Because I threatened his perfect facade, and now he's retaliating. I'll call Judge Martinez, Sophie says, already dialing. Get to your house, now. The drive home is a blur of red lights and horn blasts. My hands shake so badly I nearly crash twice. When I pull into our driveway, Daniel's car is there, and through the window I can see Tommy sitting at the kitchen counter, apparently doing homework. I force myself to breathe, to walk, not run, to the door. It's unlocked. Hey, Mom! Tommy calls out cheerfully. Dad picked me up early. We got ice cream! Daniel emerges from his home office, casual as can be in his workout clothes. Layla, didn't expect you home so early. Tommy, sweetie, could you go upstairs for a minute? My voice sounds strange, tight. Dad and I need to talk. Once Tommy's gone, I advance on Daniel. You had no right? No right? He cuts me off, voice low but sharp. He's my son too, and since you're clearly planning something with Sophie Miller, I thought it was time we had a real conversation about custody arrangements. Custody? The word hits like a slap. You think after what you've done? What I've done? He steps closer, and for the first time, I see something ugly in his familiar face. You're the one meeting with lawyers, making accusations. I'm a vice president at one of the largest tech companies in the country. Who do you think the courts will believe? The dedicated father with a stellar career or the bitter housewife who gave up her job years ago? My hands curl into fists. You really want to do this? Fine. Let's talk about Rachel. Let's talk about the money you've been hiding. Let's talk about all of it, Daniel. Something flickers in his eyes. Uncertainty? Fear? But it's gone quickly, replaced by that smooth corporate confidence. Careful, Layla. You're playing a game you can't win. Watch me. I pull out my phone, showing him the screen. I just recorded everything you said, and Sophie's already filing emergency custody papers based on your little stunt today. Still think I can't win? He steps back, reassessing. I see the moment he realizes I'm not the same woman who used to defer to his every decision. We could work this out, he says, softer now. For Tommy's sake. You're right about one thing, I reply, heading for the stairs. This is about Tommy, and I'm not letting you use him as a pawn. I pause at the bottom step, turning back. Oh, and Daniel, Rachel's not the only one who can play office politics. I wonder what the board would think about those creative accounting practices you've been using. His face pales, and I feel a fierce satisfaction as I climb the stairs to my son. The game has changed, and Daniel's about to learn I'm not playing by his rules anymore. Daniel's company laptop sits on our kitchen counter like a loaded gun. He forgot it this morning in his rush to leave, the first time in 15 years I've seen him make such a careless mistake. My hands hover over the keyboard, trembling. The password screen mocks me, but I know what to try. Tommy's adoption date. It works on the first attempt. My throat tightens as his email opens. Hundreds of messages from Rachel, dating back 18 months. I start with the oldest, watching their relationship unfold in reverse like a car crash in slow motion. Got the presentation ready for tomorrow? Dinner after? Becomes, I miss the way you look at me. Becomes, last night was incredible. The front door clicks. I freeze, but it's only Tommy, home from his friend's house. Mom, why are you using Dad's computer? I close the laptop, forcing a smile. Just checking some family photos, sweetie. How was Jason's? He drops his backpack, frowning. You're crying. I touch my cheek, surprised to find it wet. Just allergies. Hey, want to order pizza? My phone buzzes. Sophie. Emergency. Rachel just filed a harassment complaint against you at Daniel's company. Call me. The room spins. I send Tommy upstairs to do homework and dial Sophie with shaking fingers. She's claiming you've been stalking her, Sophie says without preamble. Threatening emails, phone calls. Daniel's backing her story. I laugh, a harsh sound that surprises us both. I've never even spoken to her. They've got evidence, Layla. Emails from your old account. The pieces click together. Daniel has access to my passwords, knows my old work email. He's been planning this, creating a paper trail. He's trying to discredit me, I say. Make me look unstable before I can expose the affair. It's worse. The company's legal team is involved. If this sticks, it could affect your custody case. My fingers curl around Daniel's laptop. I have proof. Emails, receipts. Don't touch that computer, Sophie cuts in sharply. Accessing it without permission could be used against you. They're already painting you as vindictive and unstable. The front door opens again. This time it's Daniel, home early for once. He sees his laptop under my hands and stops. Layla, he says quietly, warning in his voice. What are you doing? I'll call you back, I tell Sophie, hanging up. Daniel moves closer, all corporate smoothness. Accessing my work computer? That's a serious offense. The company takes cybersecurity very seriously. Like they take harassment seriously? The words burst out before I can stop them. Tell me, Daniel, did Rachel help you forge those emails, or was that all your idea? Something ugly flashes across his face. I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're having emotional difficulties, maybe we should discuss adjusting Tommy's living arrangements. Don't you dare threaten me with our son. I stand, matching his tone. I wondered why you pushed so hard for me to quit my job after the adoption. It wasn't about Tommy at all, was it? You wanted me dependent, isolated. He reaches for his laptop, but I snatch it away. You're proving my point about your stability right now. Mom? Tommy's voice from the stairs makes us both freeze. Dad? Why are you fighting? Daniel's mask slips back into place. Everything's fine, buddy. Mom's just feeling a little overwhelmed lately. I want to scream, to throw things, to tell Tommy everything. Instead, I set the laptop down carefully. You're right. I am overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by how far someone will go to protect their lies. I grab my keys and purse, moving toward the door. Daniel catches my arm. Where are you going? I lean close, whispering so Tommy can't hear. To see your father. Daniel's grip tightens painfully. Jack? He's got nothing to do with this. Really? Because he called me last week. Seems he has some interesting stories about your previous marriage. The one you never mentioned. The color drains from Daniel's face as I pull away. He knows he's lost this round, but I can see him already calculating his next move. Tommy, grab your overnight bag, I call up the stairs. We're having a sleepover at Aunt Sophie's. As we leave, I catch Daniel's reflection in the hallway mirror. For the first time, I see real fear in his eyes. Good. He should be afraid, because this isn't just about saving my reputation anymore. It's about making sure he never hurts anyone else the way he hurt us. Sophie's guest room feels like exile, but at least Tommy's finally asleep. I scroll through the photos on my phone, evidence I've been gathering. Daniel and Rachel at company events, standing too close. Credit card statements, hotel receipts. Each piece feels hollow now, useless against the narrative they've created. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We should talk. Coffee tomorrow? Rachel? My fingers hover over the keypad. It's probably a trap. More ammunition for their harassment claims. But curiosity wins. Where and when? The response comes quickly. Riverside Cafe, 10 a.m. Come alone. I find Rachel exactly where she said she'd be. Perfectly put together in her designer suit. She doesn't look like someone having an affair with my husband. She looks like someone who's won. I'm recording this conversation, I say, sitting down. She smiles, pushing a manila envelope across the table. So am I, but you'll want to see these first. Inside are more photos. Daniel with another woman, not Rachel. The timestamps show last week. Her name's Christine, Rachel says, stirring her coffee. She works in accounting. I found out about her 3 days ago. My laugh sounds strange, even to me. Is this supposed to make us allies? This is supposed to make you smart, Rachel leans forward. Daniel's being considered for chief operating officer. The board votes next month. A messy divorce, harassment allegations. It all works in his favor. Poor, successful executive, unstable wife making accusations. And you're telling me this out of kindness? I'm telling you because he promised me that position 2 months ago. Then I found these. She taps the envelope. He's playing us both, Layla, and he's better at it than we thought. My phone buzzes. Sophie calling. I ignore it. What do you want? The same thing you do. To watch him lose everything. Rachel pulls out another envelope. These are records of irregular financial transactions. Nothing illegal, but questionable enough to make the board nervous, especially combined with his pattern of personal indiscretions. Why should I trust you? Because I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to verify everything yourself. But quickly, before he destroys both our lives. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Daniel. Tommy's school called. He never showed up this morning. The world stops. I dial Sophie's number with trembling fingers. I've been trying to reach you, she says immediately. Tommy's fine. He's with Jack. Jack? How? Daniel's father picked him up. Said you asked him to. Sophie pauses. Layla, there's something else. The harassment case against you? It's being dropped. All charges withdrawn. I look at Rachel, who's watching me with an unreadable expression. I have to go, I tell Sophie, standing. Rachel catches my arm. Remember what I said. You've got 48 hours before the board meets. After that, none of this matters. I drive to Jack's house in a daze, the envelopes from Rachel burning a hole in my bag. Tommy's playing video games when I arrive, happy and oblivious. Jack stands in his kitchen, looking exactly like Daniel will in 30 years. I should have reached out sooner, he says, pouring coffee. But Daniel, he's good at isolating people. Why did you pick up Tommy? Because Daniel called his school pretending to be me. Said he had permission to take him out of state for a few days. Jack's hands shake slightly. I still have friends at the school. They called to confirm. My coffee cup clatters against the saucer. He was going to take Tommy? History repeats itself. Jack pulls out an old photo. Daniel as a child with a woman I've never seen. His mother, my first wife. Daniel told you she died, right? The truth is, she left. He never forgave her, or me for letting her go. I think of the envelopes in my bag, of Rachel's warning, of all the pieces falling into place. I need your help, I tell Jack. But it has to be now. Today. He nods, understanding in his eyes. What's the plan? I pull out my phone, scrolling to Daniel's company directory. First, we're going to call Christine from accounting. Then we're going to the board meeting. And Daniel, he's going to learn what it feels like to lose everything he thought he owned. Christine's hands shake as she slides the USB drive across Jack's kitchen table. Outside, the sun is setting, casting long shadows through the windows. Tommy's upstairs, still blissfully lost in his video games. There's more than just the financial records, she says, voice barely above a whisper. Daniel, he made promises to a lot of people, not just Rachel and me. Jack picks up the drive, turning it over in his weathered hands. How many? 5 that I know of, all women in positions to help his career. Christine wraps her arms around herself. He told each of us we were special, that once he became COO, my laugh sounds hollow. Let me guess, he'd leave his unstable wife. Start fresh? She nods, unable to meet my eyes. The board meeting's tomorrow morning. He's already started discrediting anyone who might speak against him. My phone buzzes. Daniel calling. Again. I silence it, but not before noticing the 17 missed calls. He knows something's wrong, Jack says, watching me. He always could smell when he was losing control. The doorbell rings, making us all jump. Through the peephole, I see Rachel, looking less polished than this morning. When I open the door, I smell alcohol on her breath. They fired me, she says, pushing past me. Effective immediately. Professional misconduct. She spots Christine and laughs bitterly. Well, isn't this cozy? Rachel, I start, but she cuts me off. Don't! Just don't! You know what he told me? That you're mentally unstable. That you've been stalking all of us, creating fake evidence. The board believes him, Layla. They always believe him. Jack stands, his presence filling the room. Not always. Not this time. Who are you? Someone who's watched Daniel destroy lives for 40 years. He holds up the USB drive. And someone who still has friends on the board. My phone buzzes again. This time a text from Sophie. Daniel just filed for emergency custody. Hearing tomorrow morning. Same time as the board meeting. The room spins. I grab the counter to steady myself, feeling the walls close in. He's forcing me to choose Tommy or justice. He planned this, I whisper. All of it. The timing, the allegations, everything. No, Jack says firmly. I did. We all turn to stare at him. He looks older suddenly, tired but determined. I leaked information about the custody hearing to Daniel's lawyer. Knew he'd jump at the chance. Jack meets my eyes. Because while you're in court fighting for Tommy, I'll be at the board meeting. With Christine, and Rachel, and every other woman he's manipulated. They won't believe you, Rachel says. You're his estranged father. They'll believe the evidence. And they'll believe this. He pulls out an old letter, yellowed with age. From his mother. Explaining why she really left. How he threatened to destroy her if she tried to take him with her. My hands shake as I read the letter. The patterns, the manipulation, the calculated cruelty. It's all there, written decades ago. He's not just going to lose his job, Jack continues. He's going to lose everything. His reputation, his power, his ability to hurt anyone else. Why now? I ask. After all these years? Because you're the first person who fought back. The first one who made me believe we could stop him. Christine stands straighter, something hardening in her expression. I'll testify, whatever it costs. Me too, Rachel says quietly. Better to burn with him than let him keep doing this. My phone buzzes one final time. Daniel. Last chance, Layla. Drop everything now or you'll never see Tommy again. I look around the room at these women, all damaged by the same man. At Jack, carrying decades of guilt and regret. At the evidence that could destroy Daniel, and the custody hearing that could destroy me. No, I say, typing my response. You've got it backwards, Daniel. You're the one who's never going to see him again. I turn to Jack. The hearing's at 9. The board meets at 10. Let's make both count. For the first time since this started, I feel something beyond anger or fear. I feel powerful. Because tomorrow, Daniel learns what happens when you underestimate the women you've wronged. The courthouse bathroom mirror shows a woman I barely recognize. I straighten my blazer, checking my phone. 8:55. 5 minutes until the custody hearing. 65 minutes until the board meeting where Jack will destroy everything Daniel built. Sophie bursts in, face flushed. Daniel's lawyer just submitted new evidence. Photos of you meeting with Rachel and Christine. They're painting it as conspiracy, harassment. My hands grip the sink. He was following me? Private investigator. They're pushing for immediate sole custody, claiming you're unstable and vindictive. She pauses. There's more. They have Tommy's therapist ready to testify. The room tilts. Dr. Evans? But she has been seeing Daniel privately for months. She'll testify that Tommy's expressed fear of your erratic behavior. My phone buzzes. Jack. Christine backed out. Rachel too. He got to them. The words blur as tears threaten. I blink them back, remembering Tommy's face this morning as Sophie's sister took him to school. See you after court, Mom. Love you. We should postpone, Sophie says, watching me. Regroup. Gather more evidence. No. I delete Jack's message. That's what Daniel expects. He thinks he knows exactly how this plays out. The courtroom feels airless when we enter. Daniel sits with his lawyer, perfectly composed in his $1,000 suit. He doesn't look like someone about to lose everything. He looks like someone who's already won. The judge reviews the new evidence, her expression growing darker. Mrs. Thompson, these are serious allegations. Meeting with your husband's colleagues in secret, accessing private company information. Your Honor, Sophie starts, but Daniel's lawyer interrupts. We have testimony from multiple witnesses about Mrs. Thompson's escalating behavior. The private investigator's photos show... The courtroom door opens. Jack walks in, followed by a woman I've never seen. She's in her 60s, elegant despite obvious tension. Daniel stands abruptly. Mother? The judge frowns. Who is this? Margaret Thompson, Your Honor. Jack's voice carries authority I've never heard before. Daniel's mother, the one he told everyone was dead. Daniel's lawyer scrambles. This is irrelevant to the custody. I have documentation, Margaret says, placing a folder on the judge's desk. Of a pattern of behavior that started when Daniel was 12. Of manipulation. Of turning family members against each other, including his current attempts to alienate his son from his mother. Objection! Daniel's lawyer shouts, but Daniel himself remains frozen, staring at the mother he claimed was dead. The therapist, I say suddenly understanding. Dr. Evans, You were her patient too, weren't you? Margaret nods. 15 years ago, when Daniel first started his pattern with other women, she helped him convince the courts I was unfit. Your Honor, Sophie interjects, we request a recess to review this new evidence. The judge studies Margaret's documents, then looks at Daniel. His perfect facade is cracking, showing something ugly underneath. Request granted! 1 hour recess. She fixes Daniel with a hard stare. And I'm calling Dr. Evans to testify about her prior relationship with this family. Daniel moves toward his mother, but Jack steps between them. The board meeting starts in 10 minutes, son. Better hurry if you want to save anything. You think this changes anything? Daniel's voice is low, dangerous. I still have Tommy's testimony, his fear of his unstable mother. Once the judge hears, Tommy, I cut in, feeling strength return. Why don't we ask him ourselves? The courtroom door opens again. Sophie's sister enters with Tommy. He runs to me but stops when he sees Daniel. Dad? Tommy's voice trembles. Why did you tell Dr. Evans those things about Mom? They weren't true. Daniel's face goes white. Tommy, you don't understand. I recorded it, Tommy says, on my phone, like Mom taught me to do when something feels wrong. He pulls out his phone, hands it to Sophie. I didn't want to help you hurt her. In that moment, watching Daniel's perfect world crumble, I feel no satisfaction. Only sadness for the boy watching his father's true nature emerge. The board meeting starts soon, I tell Daniel quietly. Better hurry, though I doubt they'll believe anything you say now. He leaves without another word, but his mother stays. Together, we watch him walk away, his shoulders bent under the weight of his own lies. The judge returns, and I hold Tommy close as Sophie presents his recording. Sometimes I realize the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting them destroy themselves. The boardroom doors slam open as Daniel storms in, 30 minutes late and coming undone at the seams. His perfect hair is disheveled, his tie askew. The board members stare, unused to seeing their polished vice president so rattled. This meeting is private, he snaps, then freezes when he sees me sitting beside Jack. Actually, the board chairman says, Mrs. Thompson was just sharing some fascinating information about company finances. I slide the USB drive across the gleaming table. Christine from accounting sends her regards. Daniel lunges for it, but Jack blocks his path. Sit down, son. For once in your life, face what you've done. You have no right to be here, Daniel snarls. Either of you. This is corporate harassment. Like the harassment complaints you manufactured against your wife? The chairman's voice cuts through Daniel's protests. Or the multiple affairs with employees? The misappropriated funds? These are lies. Clearly my unstable wife is perfectly stable, Margaret says, entering the room. The board members murmur as she takes her seat, as the court determined 20 minutes ago when they granted her full custody. Daniel's facade cracks completely. He whirls on me, mask gone, revealing something dark and desperate. You planned this, all of it. Turn my own parents against me. No, Daniel. I keep my voice steady. You did that yourself. Just like you turned Tommy against you when you tried to use him to hurt me. Tommy? His laugh is harsh. He's not even our real son. We bought him, like everything else in our perfect little life. The room goes deadly quiet. I stand slowly, feeling everyone's eyes on us. That's where you're wrong. Tommy was never bought. He was loved. Something you never understood about either of us. Mrs. Thompson, the chairman interrupts, please continue with the financial evidence. I shake my head. You don't need me for that. Rachel and Christine are waiting outside. They'll tell you everything about the manipulation, the promises, the threats. I'm done here. You can't leave, Daniel says, desperation creeping into his voice. You wanted revenge. Well, congratulations. You've ruined me. At least stay to watch. That's the difference between us, Daniel. I never wanted revenge. I wanted justice. For Tommy. For your mother. For every woman you used and discarded. I gather my things, suddenly tired. The rest is up to the board. Security will escort you out, Mr. Thompson, the chairman says. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. The police will want to discuss the financial irregularities. Daniel stands there, power draining away like water, as 2 security guards enter. You'll regret this, he says, but his voice holds no power anymore. All of you. No, Jack says quietly. The only regret here is that I didn't stop you sooner. I walk out before the guards reach Daniel, Margaret, and Jack following. In the hallway, Rachel and Christine wait with their own stories, their own evidence. They nod as I pass, understanding in their eyes. My phone buzzes. Sophie. Tommy's asking for you, says he wants ice cream. I smile, remembering that family dinner that feels like a lifetime ago. The night I first saw Daniel's text from Rachel. The night everything changed. Mom? I turn. Daniel stands between the security guards, his perfect suit wrinkled, his empire crumbling. For a moment, I see the man I married, the father Tommy loved. Then it's gone, replaced by what was always there beneath the surface. It wasn't supposed to end like this, he says. No, I agree. It was supposed to end with you destroying everyone who loved you. Like always. I did love you. Once. No, Daniel. You loved what we represented. The perfect wife, the perfect son, the perfect life. But real love? That requires truth. The guards lead him away, and Margaret touches my arm. Ice cream sounds wonderful, she says. Think there's room for a grandmother at that table? I look at her, at Jack, at the family emerging from the ashes of Daniel's lies. There's always room for truth, I say, and new beginnings. As we leave, I hear Daniel's voice echo down the corridor, making threats, promises, excuses. But his words have no power anymore. The truth has set us all free. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday bearing the prison's return address. I recognize Daniel's handwriting immediately. Precise, controlled, just like he used to be. The letter sits unopened on my desk while I review contracts for my new marketing consultancy. Tommy bursts in, brandishing his science project. Mom, we won first place! I pull him close, breathing in the scent of his shampoo and victory. Of course you did. Want to celebrate with Grandma Margaret and Grandpa Jack tonight? Can we get ice cream after? Always ice cream after, I say, and he runs off to call them. The letter catches my eye again. 3 months since Daniel's sentencing for financial fraud. 6 months since the divorce. The unopened envelope holds his latest attempt at... What? Reconciliation? Manipulation? The old me would have torn it open immediately, desperate to understand. My phone buzzes. Rachel. Thought you should know. Christine got the promotion. Head of Financial Operations. The board's really turning things around. I smile, remembering Christine's testimony that helped put Daniel away. Sometimes justice wears a pencil skirt and carries an accounting degree. The doorbell rings. Sophie enters without waiting, legal papers in hand. Final settlement documents. Once you sign, everything's done. I take the papers but don't sign immediately. Have you heard from Dr. Evans? She surrendered her license. Turns out Daniel wasn't her only ethical violation. Sophie notices the letter. From him? Haven't decided if I'm reading it. She sits across from me. Whatever's in there, it doesn't change anything. I know. I pick up the envelope, feeling its weight. But maybe I need to read it. Not for him. For me. The letter is shorter than I expected. Layla, they say, write what you know is true. Here's what I know. I destroyed everything good in my life because I couldn't stand that it was real. Tommy's love, your strength, my parents' hope for redemption. I made everyone feel crazy because I was terrified of my own madness. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But Tommy should know something true about his father, so here it is. I loved him. Not well, not right, but I did. And you loved him better than I ever could. Daniel. Sophie watches me fold the letter. You okay? Better than okay. I sign the settlement papers with steady hands. I used to think revenge would feel like winning, but this feels like something else. Freedom? Peace. Tommy's voice carries from the kitchen, laughing with Jack on the phone about ice cream flavors. Margaret's wind chimes, a housewarming gift for our new home, tinkle in the breeze through the open window. I stand, dropping Daniel's letter in the shredder. Coming to dinner? Tommy's science project won first place. Wouldn't miss it. Sophie gathers the signed papers. You know, when you first called me about Daniel's text messages, I never imagined we'd end up here. Neither did I. I grab my keys, hearing Tommy thunder down the stairs. I thought I was fighting to destroy Daniel, Turns out I was fighting to save myself. Mom! Tommy calls. Grandpa Jack says he's bringing that weird ice cream with the coffee in it. Tell him you're too young for coffee ice cream. But Mom! I catch my reflection in the window, no longer the desperate woman who discovered her husband's betrayal over dinner. Something stronger has emerged from those ashes. The shredded pieces of Daniel's letter scatter in the wastebasket. Maybe he meant every word. Maybe it's another manipulation. It doesn't matter anymore. The truth isn't in his words. It's in the family waiting at the ice cream shop, in Tommy's laughter, in the career I'm rebuilding, in the peace I've found. Ready? Sophie asks. I lock my office, leaving the past behind. Ready? Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying your enemy. It's in building something beautiful from the wreckage they left behind. Something true. Tommy races ahead to the car, already debating ice cream flavors with himself. I follow more slowly, savoring each step toward our future. The wind chimes sing their gentle song, and I think, this is what freedom sounds like. This is what truth feels like. This is what winning really means.